listings at this point, the rankings. Edgeworth is ranked our 6th best runner, xIceblue at number 11, and we've picked up a whole lot of other runners at this point, but these are 2 tried and true names that we continue to see win races right at the top. This is the type of matchup we would hope that we would find later on in the bracket portion of the tournament, but here we are, week 2. Each of them have a 1-0 record. And as you can see up on the screen there, we've got a forced white mage this evening, but it doesn't really look like that turned into any difference as far as party comp, Sporzando.
No, and there've been a small handful of different comps, but a lot of people like this 3-mage, red mage, white mage, black mage combo. It provides the most versatile of these spell casting lists. One of the things I would have liked to have seen is I would have liked to have seen the double red mage, but unfortunately, pretty standard party comps tonight.
And it does look like the race is going to start shortly. I see a Dan in chat, so hello to that. xIceblue has Dan for his white mage. Is he trolling us, or is that something that he's trying to tell us here for a little bit later as we run into town? Let's take a look at that white and black magic to start.
Or the weapon shot. Yeah, I definitely think it's going to depend on how the white magic level 1 shakes out.
And oh boy, here we go. Black magic level 1 nuke is in play. And so this is the beginning of a dream seed, at least. The red and black mages are going to love to see that. And then on the white magic side, we've got Harm 3. I saw the Pure spell, and that was really about it. Let's look and see if we have saving items. I see Cabins for 217 gold. That's going to be out of reach for now.
The houses aren't too terrible at 1,000 gold apiece. Early on, they may be a little troublesome, but sometimes you only really need to grab 1 or 2, so the price is probably fine on those.
If you see a little bit of a difference in the sprites that we're using, it looks like xIceblue has the, I think those are from Final Fantasy III. We've got an off-white mage, so to speak, along with a fighter. First chest check here on the left-hand side coming up. We have 3 chests in the left side of Temple of Fiends and 2 in the Dwarf Cave that we can check here at the beginning of the game.
We've got unrunnable wolves to start, but thankfully they only melee, so a good nuke takes them down.
First chest, a cool 4,600 gold, and that will turn into some saving items when we get back into Caneria.
Yeah, one thing to point out, it looks like Encounter 1 is pretty decent. Encounter 2 is looking pretty solid on the distance. We might see a lot of power cycling in this game.
And of course, Garland is no match whatsoever to a nuke charge, and so bye-bye to Garland. Not only knocked down, but flambéed to a crisp. And we'll be back here to Temple of Fiends Revisited in just about 90 minutes or so. Cube and Rod are our incentive items, and Sforzando, what is that telling us?
Well, we need 2 things to decide what gets us outside of the area of Caneria, and one of those items is the bridge. The other item is the canoe. We got neither of those items, so thanks to one of our handy-dandy map edits, our runners are going to have to head over to the Dwarf Cave and see which direction they're going to head in. My personal hope is that it's definitely going to be the bridge. There are not incentive items over there, right?
No, there aren't any incentive items over there. It could be the ship. So that might be something that we can find there.
That is very true.
And I see lots of commentary in chat here about things that they would like to find. It would look like we're about 50-50 between bridge and ship at this point.
The ship would allow you to just bypass the bridge and sail over the ports in Provoca and Elfland, respectively, but almost guarantees a Marsh Cave dive, so we'll see what happens here.
And there's that opening in the mountains that we've blown up here on the left-hand side of the Caneria subcontinent, which gets us access to Dwarf Cave. 2 chests over there, and we have to find something there that's going to allow us to progress. Meanwhile, Edgeworth heading northward, probably going to make sure that he checks those chests on the 3 on the left-hand side of Temple of Fiends.
I think he's struggling a little bit. He must be hitting something that's not friendly to him. Or the Garland took him out or something. And
it is going to be the bridge that's available from the dwarves. And so the dwarves build us a bridge to get over to Matoya's cave and the level 2 magic and the pirates over in Provoca. And so feeling a little bit vanilla so far for this seed.
Well, I think it's kind of interesting because they had to sort of zigzag. Go to Temple of Fiends, nothing there. Come back, head over to Dwarf. Oh, you gotta come back. And so I actually think that's more interesting.
Pack of Girlwolves are going to be no match for a nuke charge, and we're going to see this sort of approach play out here for the most part of this seed. There's going to be lots of nuke charges being used, and not a whole lot of enemies being able to withstand it for the most part of the game. All right, there went Dan, the white mage. Now let's see if xIceblue decides to keep him down or if he's going to bring him back up.
And I think it's going to purely depend on what spells are coming up in probably in the 5-6 area. Certainly, how many charges is he going to get of those? Are those good spells? And certainly, you want to look forward to 2, 3, and 4. We'll find out what those are, and I guess that'll hopefully go into his decision making. Also, you'll notice his party is already level 5, and that's one of those things that getting level 1 nuke does for you. You could just take all the encounters from top to bottom, and you could level very quickly. Once you get to the river tiles and you make your way south, if that's the direction you're going in, there's more levels to be had there, all while you're traveling without the need to stop and grind.
And so the next stop after our runners get over the bridge here, Edgeworth has to pick his bridge up. xIceblue already has his. Will be a bit of a mini choice, Sforzando. What do you feel? Would you go check Matoya and see what the 3 chests there are, or are you heading over to Provoca right away?
I think I'm a little torn at this point because with level 1 nuke, they have the ability to take out the pirates, no problem. And you're going to end up at Matoya's cave anyway, so as part of the crown chests. So I think with the fact that they have some money to buy level 2 spells and the fact that they have nuke at level 1, I think you give Matoya's cave a miss right now.
Since we started at a pretty quick pace here, haven't had a chance also to introduce everyone this evening to our tracker. Tyrannex, thank you for clicking all of the buttons tonight and making everything light up for us.
Yeah, huge props to Tyrannex coming off of a really tough seed last night against Fuchsia Fantasy. That was definitely a good game by both players.
And xIceblue is going to go ahead and save his game and take a peek into Matoya's cave. So we have 3 chests available here with possible resources that we can pick up.
Yeah, this isn't a terrible play. With a cabin, he saves right outside at sort of the fork in the road, if you will. So if it is nothing, he can just abandon that. He really only loses 30 seconds, maybe.
That was a bit of a bust. He got about 2,500 gold, and that was enough for him to want to walk back out with it. But that wooden staff is not going to be worth much, and a tent's a saving item, so Matoya not giving us a whole lot there.
Yeah, and unfortunately, these unrunnable wolves are about to get nuked, and unfortunately, as he goes up in level, this fight will be worth less and less and less, so taking these fights are now more tantamount to tedium than giving him any real discernible value.
So we've reached Provoca and the level 2 magic shops, which we're going to go ahead and check immediately. Let's look at the white magic side first. Oh boy, there's Fade.
Boy.
And it's in the 3rd slot, which means that the red mage can learn it. But now the question is Dan the white mage going to come back and join us?
Yeah, that's going to be a good question. Actually, on all of those level 2s, those are all fully red mage, red wizard, and knight usables. So Fade's going to help out. We get to Temple of Fiends. Wall is certainly a great spell to have at level 2 in case you're low on ribbons or otherwise. And certainly, the only thing we're missing now kind of is a life spell, and then maybe either temper or fast, depending on what our items are.
Nine pirates up, 9 pirates down to nuke, and let's see what the pirate Bick has for us here. He's got a canoe.
So, ladies and gentlemen, 9 pirates fit in a dinghy. So, there's that.
So that leaves us with 2 incentive locations left here on the continent that we can reach at this point. The canoe opens up access to the combined river networks. That'll get us down to Crescent Lake, and you can check the sages there. The other place that this gets us access to is Ice Cave, in the incentivized chest sitting with the eye. And so that's your next 2 options. You could probably go ahead and sort of loop them both in at the same time. You might want to go check out what's going on in Crescent Lake anyways.
Yeah, it's a tough call because I've seen, especially after last night's 4-man race, you don't want to hit Ice Cave too early because there are definitely some things in there that will scare our runners away. So I do like the Crescent Lake first play. Let's go down there and see if there happens to be a floater that opens up the world.
The other possible option that might be hiding out there is that as we watch xIceblue reset out of about 1 million encounters, there is an incentivized item somewhere in an item shop somewhere. So that could be hiding in Crescent Lake or perhaps all the way back over in Elfland. That is something that we're going to have to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, there are 4 item shops that our runners now have access to thanks to the canoe. We've already seen 2 of those, and neither of those have it. There are 2 more in Elfland and in Crescent Lake that we can see, and then there are 3 locations outside of that, being Gaia, the Caravan, and Onrak. So kind of a 2 in 5 chance that we might see our item beforehand.
xIceblue opting for a Peninsula of Power grind, so don't adjust your television sets. It is not 1987 again. We are back up here at the Peninsula of Power grinding some levels. Edgeworth taking a different approach, foregoing the pop grind, and is working on progression. He's headed on over to, I'm assuming here, Crescent Lake.
Yeah, never should I be one to criticize a player who is better than me, but these flags have demonstrated more often than not the non-necessity of the grind, especially having level 1 nuke, level 2 fade. You could kill anything you wanted to as you travel from point A to point B, and I think that's what Edgeworth is doing right here.
So we have 2 separate approaches here. xIceblue is going to gain some levels for his 3 party members that are up. And also get a whole ton of gold off of these encounters as well. So he's not going to be hurting for money at all. Meanwhile, Edgeworth has no cash whatsoever with 212 gold, but he's already here in Crescent Lake. And so this is two quite different approaches here. We'll have to see how it works out. There was Life in level 6 and Warp also in level 6. I did not see anything else there.
I didn't really either. Life is in a red wizard learnable spot. That is the bottom 3 of the white magic shop. And then Warp was in the 2 slot, so that is not learnable by white wizard. But I think both of our runners brought black mages, so all they have to do is get them to, I think, 16, and then Warp will be at their disposal.
So meanwhile, the Circle of Sages gave Edgeworth a pretty bottle, which is a nice incentive item to have, but really not the one we're looking for at this point. Of course, we're looking for the floater, which will get us off of the southern continent eventually. And so Edgeworth has a decision to make about whether he wants to go to Volcano, to Ice Cave, or over to Elfland.
Yeah, I think he's going to go check out the spell shops over there to see if there's anything usable for him there. For those of you who watched our 4-way match last night, we were in a very similar situation where we're down to 1 incentivized item, and that is in the Ice Cave. Last night's race, the floater was not found on the opening continent at all, so our runners had to dig for the ship and for the TNT to break out and find the floater at Castle Ordeals. We'll see if our runners play this a little differently tonight.
And there's the all-important exit spell sitting in the 3rd slot, which will make Edgeworth very happy.
And heal 3 in that slot is not bad either, but when you get to Temple of Fiends, those exit spells are not useful outside of grinding Temple of Fiends levels, so heal 3 will be a great substitute for that level.
Fog 2 for level 4 white magic, and then I believe that was Ice 2 and level 4 black magic. Well, and there's no incentive item here either, so that means Ice Cave is the play.
And that is exactly where xIceblue is headed right now. He's taking his pop grind and going straight. He didn't even go to Crescent Lake. He's gone right to Ice Cave.
So Ice got his levels and is now making an early play for Ice Cave before going to Crescent Lake to check the item there. This is a gutsy play. Ice Cave can cause you all sorts of problems. There is no guarantee whatsoever that this is going to be friendly to an early dive like this.
No, and I hate to keep referencing last night's matchup, but I mean, the Ice Cave was so nasty last night. The poison skill ended up on the Medusa script and fell to both the mages and the red bones. So the mages guarded a trap tile guarding a treasure chest for our runners last night, created some problems for them, and of course the R bones were also equally unfriendly. We'll see how Ice Cave treats our runners tonight.
That sounds absolutely hideous. So first encounter in for xIceblue, and Nuke takes down a pack of cockatrices and mummies with no issue whatsoever. Deeper in he goes.
Oh, this one's a matchup that encounter right there is one that not a lot of people see or like to see. That is 4 unique enemies in one go. The Image, Spectre, Wraith, and Geist fight. Those all could have different spells or different skills that you don't know, and so that's good to see that he gets a run from that one. There is a trap tile a little later on with that encounter. We'll see if we see more skills from them.
Now, the difference in approaches here is going to result in a very, very different experience for Edgeworth, who is sailing over to Ice Cave now with not nearly the levels that xIceblue is doing this in.
I really believed for a second that Edgeworth might have considered going to the volcano, but it doesn't look like he is considering going to the volcano. That's not a terrible play off the start either, because it can get you the levels that you need with Nuke and Nuke at 1 and Fade at 2. Plus, you get to see the treasure trove of the armory, plus all of the other things that come in B2 of Volcano, and then bail out of that and head to Ice Cave. You'll have levels, you'll have money, and potentially better gear.
So it did look like Wraiths had stun touch there for xIceblue's encounter, so that's something we're going to want to keep an eye on in here.
Yeah, because you can get up to 5 Wraiths in one fight. There's one encounter that is a 5 Wraith encounter, so we'll see if he gets that one.
Frost Dragon's not holding much. Edgeworth has arrived now at Ice Cave as well, so we're going to have both runners in the same dungeon looking for the same incentive item.
I was wrong. It is 6.
Who's counting at that point?
So now we're going to see what's in the Frost Rurus. Oh, we got a 4 mage fight. xIceblue opted not to take this. This is something Fusion just pointed out in chat. That this is the second one he's run from. Burning 1 nuke on that fight to kill those does make that a fairly valuable fight.
Heal Helmet, speaking of value, that has moderate value here. Might be worth an equip a little bit later. Frost Rurus proved no match for Nuke.
Ooh, the white shirt for his troubles. That is one that some of our runners, that's a tile some of our runners, myself included, like to skip when doing an Ice Cave dive. Sometimes because you want to save the time from checking that trap tile. You have to go through that encounter and whatnot. So great find for xIceblue there, getting the white shirt. That's going to help him down the road.
Hey, and our fearless leader Zardia has entered chat, and thanks for the 10 bits, and thanks for supporting Speed Gaming Czar. And thanks to everybody here for watching with us this evening. We're watching xIceblue versus Edgeworth, and the search for the all-important floater. So down the hole we're going to go here and see what the eye is guarding.
It's the Final Fantasy Randomizer Spring Tournament Stage 2 Game of the Week, dubbed by me and nobody else. So sit back and enjoy this one, because we're only getting started.
And the floater is indeed here in Ice Cave. That's going to give progression to both of our runners and allow them to get off of this southern continent. And it looks like xIceblue might be setting up for a bit of an eye grind here.
Yeah, the floater being there makes me a little sad because I do like to see them dive and look for the ship, but that's going to open up our world to both of our runners. I got to tell you, I think the advantage lies slightly with xIceblue, even with that small pop grind at this point. Edgeworth has been to Crescent Lake already, but he's going to have to make a second trip to go turn that floater in, whereas xIceblue stopped at the ice cave before even going to Crescent Lake. And so, I mean, even that little difference right there is going to give him a small advantage.
And xIceblue now on his second circuit here of Ice Cave to go ahead and get on out of here with that progression item. And then we're going to see him swing by Crescent Lake on the way by. And then he'll be picking up that floater and sailing off to parts unknown. Edgeworth still working on making his way over to the eye-guarded chest so that he can pick up his floater as well.
And we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Those of you who are joining us from the 4-player race over on one of our other stations, Randomania, who watched Papa Foy's defeat Miat. Thank you guys for tuning in here. We've got an exciting match that's just now brewing for you.
So xIceblue leaves the ice cave in 19 minutes and 45 seconds. We'll see when Edgeworth gets out of here how much farther behind he is. So if you are just joining us, I can go ahead and do a quick recap while we watch xIceblue try to work his way through these encounters. This has been a lightning seed and a very plentiful one at that. We do have Nuke at level 1 for the black magic and Fade at level 2 for the white magic. And so our runners are not going to be hurting for resources, at least in this seed. The King gave us the cube. Sarah gave us the rod. The pirates had the canoe, which allowed us to get down to the sages who are holding the bottle. And then the required progression item, the floater, is sitting here in Ice Cave, and Edgeworth is closing in on it now. And so 20 minutes in, we have already reached 5 incentivized locations. So this is turning out to be something of a lightning seed.
Yeah, the only way it would have been faster is if Canoe was on Sarah or the Pirates. Well, the Pirates are Canoe and the King, or Sarah had the floater. Just getting those 2 items right away, getting the airship within the 6-minute mark or so. Those really make the seeds fly, but this one's going to go by pretty quickly, so blink and you'll miss it.
And Edgeworth also going to stick around here to take a few eye encounters. Importantly for Edgeworth, he does have the exit spell. That was something he picked up while over in level 3 when he went to go visit Elfland early. So he does have a way to get out of here almost immediately, as soon as whenever he wants.
I think he's just going to burn the rest of his charges whenever that ends up. If he can't get the sort of 1-hit or even 1-round kills, I don't know how long exactly he's going to stay, but I think he's just going to burn a lot of his charges and then just go ahead and exit out of there.
I do believe that Edgeworth does have the white shirt. I saw a question about that in chat. I think he went and picked that up. There goes that exit spell.
And see, Edgeworth's going to take advantage of the long encounter too. And you see that power cycle. If you see the screen go to the blue with the scrolling text, he is using power cycles to reset the encounter table and resetting from there so that he gets a more favorable distance on his walks.
Edgeworth right on his tail, heading on into Crescent Lake himself. xIceblue sails away, and it looks like we're going to go head to our old kindly sage Sarda to go ahead and see what progression item he's hiding today.
And he is giving away the tail tonight.
It's a really nice find, especially for this party composition that both of our runners are using. We'll probably see that get cashed in almost instantly.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like xIceblue fighter has reached 15. That's kind of a small but important detail. The knight gets charges every other level starting at 15, so 15, 17, 19, until he gets 4 charges. But a lot of these races end with our runners being about 21, give or take. And so getting to 15 before class changing to the knight means he does lose out on one of those spell charges, which is a fade, an invis 2, a wall at this point.
And now we're watching how Edgeworth's previous routing is catching up to him now because they are almost in the exact same place at the same time. Edgeworth has already visited Elfland once and knows what's there. And so a bit of an advantage in knowledge here. And now look at this. We're looking at perhaps an early Earth Cave dive.
Because at this point, I think you just sit back and let the masters work, and we figure out why later.
I'm taking notes. Speaking of notes, Life 2 available here in Melmond. I didn't see a whole lot on the Black Magic side that was available.
Did you see what slot that was? Because red mages and red wizards only get access to slots 1 and 2, if I remember right.
I believe it was slot... ETAP's telling me it was slot 3. Thanks again to ETAP in chat there, who is always on top of where the spells land in these tournament matches.
My thinking, and this is what I think, and we can certainly ask him why Earth first later, but I think this accomplishes 2 things. But one of those things is missing right now, and that's the slab. And a lot of times people will come here with the slab, translate the slab, do the Earth Cave, knock this entire region out all at once. Arachnids with frost. That's a little scary, and there's 7 of them, so...
Yeah, this encounter is going the wrong direction for Edgeworth real fast. He gets a fade charge off, but I have to wonder if he's going to stick around now.
It's definitely a tough call, because it seems like, aside from making a separate dive for the 5 chests on B1, there's a pretty standard route that a lot of our runners take when you want to find chests, but you're not necessarily actively looking for every single chest, and that's the 3 in B2. Then there's 1, 2, 3 in B3, and 5 we go for in B4. It's a pretty standard route, almost regardless of when you take the Earth Cave. But taking the Earth Cave, he's kind of in the 14, 15 area, so he is slightly above level for it. But a lot of times our runners will leave the Earth Cave for last just with the sheer volume of levels that they have. But Edgeworth is treating this as sort of a regional, like, while I'm here, I'll do the Earth Cave. But he's going to have to come back and translate his slab and check those level 5 spells, hopefully with a class-changed red wizard.
And I am a little concerned here just from the fact that he only has 2 members up and has no access to a life spell to bring them back to life that I know of. And so... you run into something unexpected down here with only 4 fade charges to your name. This is not without its risks.
And this is one of the things where if he pulls it off, if he's fortunate and pulls it off, he'll have Earth Cave completed. But realistically, it would take as much time, if not less, for xIceblue to just come back at the very end and do this. So you're sort of hedging your bets of some kind that maybe there's an early Massa down here. He's not even checking the 5 that some of our runners normally check in the north-hand side. I think he's just looking to pick up this orb and move on.
Yep, I think you're right. He got a little bit fortunate there. He tried to harm 3 some wizards, which won't work. But Lou, the fighter, bailed him out and ran out of that encounter. Meanwhile, xIceblue is going to go ahead and trade in that bottle for some fresh, sweet Oxy Ale. And this may harbinger a trip over to the Sea Shrine eventually. It looks like the loot was also found in Gaia, available for sale there.
That's an item our runners can either pick up now with their excess gold, or actually, that's probably a good pickup to do it when you turn in your bottle. So hopefully Edge will have enough money to pick that up when he turns in his bottle. That way you don't have to go back to Gaia for just about anything else.
So the two-man sprint through the Earth Cave continues for Edgeworth. Meanwhile, xIceblue comes over to Castle Ordeals. There's an incentivized chest here as well, but you've got some shuffled pillars to deal with in order to get there.
And it looks like he's got the good 4-pillar guess early, which is really nice because sometimes if you get deep in with the 2-pillar guesses and all the single-pillar travels, and then you get to the 4 and you hit the wrong pillar and it takes you to a room and you're like, have I been here before? And so it's good to see that 4-pillar guess come up front.
Edgeworth has reached the brutal part of this encounter step sequence, and he's going to have to work his way through this. Tries to harm 3 down some cockatrices just out of spite, but here comes the Fade Charge instead.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting Lich fight, because this is not going to be a pushover for his party, especially when he's now out of Fade Charges and he's down to 2 or 3 harm 3s. I expect him to get the job done, but it's not going to be easy.
Meanwhile, xIceblue is having some issues here. Mummies have cremate for this seed, which is no fun in these flags because you're not only going to see them here, you're going to see them in Ice Cave, which we were at previously. You're also going to see them Sky Castle, and the Waterfall as well.
Cremate? I always thought mummies were buried.
They want you to join them in the afterlife, apparently. Okay, so Edgeworth gets away from the werewolf encounter, unpoisons himself. He's going to heal back up. He's trying to get to the 5th level here. More weight cockatrices.
And these are unrunnable, too. And so now he's out of Fade Charges, and I think he has a Wizard Staff. Oh, no, maybe they are unrunnable. And so he is not only stun locked, he's down to his White Mage. About the only thing he has at his disposal right now is the Wizard Staff. He is using that white shirt to good use right there.
They can't stun touch you if they can't hit you. Oops, now we are in stun touch land. Look out.
Boy, this decision is probably going to come back to haunt Edgeworth because it is taking him far longer to do the Earth Cave than it would to come back and do Earth Cave last. And unfortunately, with the minimal number of chests that he checked, there's really not much of a value in doing this play. At least that's how it looks to me.
One person gets stun locked, the other person gets unstun locked. The problem is now that it's the White Mage, and the White Mage isn't going to hit anything. So some liberal casts to the white shirt here to keep them from hitting Lou, so that Lou can do his job.
And meanwhile, xIceblue comes out of the Castle Ordeals with his item.
I just want to point out that xIceblue dove the entirety of Castle Ordeals from beginning to end while Edgeworth was still on the 4th floor of Earth Cave. It does not feel good.
That's a real struggle. I can't say that I would reset at this point. This has just not gone well for Edgeworth right now, and this is a real struggle to really watch.
xIceblue completing the tour of incentivized locations, now in the waterfall to pick up whatever the robot has for us.
And I missed what was in Castle Ordeals. It looks like maybe the slab. Did I get that right?
Yep, Ordeals had the slab tonight. All right, so Edgeworth is nearing the domain of Lich, but look out. We know that these mummies have cremate, and here it comes.
Yeah, I think as long as Lich doesn't have any majorly bad spells, it looks like Edgeworth's probably going to employ the white shirt, swing the axe strat against Lich, running out of spell charges.
This is not a good encounter either for Edge. The rare White Mage runaway saves Edgeworth from that encounter. And here we are at Lich, the Earth Fiend, and at these lower levels, this is not a gimme. Lich could have something awful on him.
Like thunder.
Blaze.
So Lich in vanilla has 400 hit points. One of our Swiss flags is that the enemy percents are in a range between 67 and 150%. As we can see, it looked like he rolled on the low end of that spectrum, with Lich going down very easily.
So first orb lit there for Edgeworth, not without its cost. He's going to have to regroup from a relatively lengthy Earth Cave dive there and decide where he wants to head next. Looks like he's going to go get some magic.
And as xIceblue makes his way to the Waterfall Cave to see what the robot has, we want to report that Falconic has moved to 2-0 with his victory over White Mage as a guy. So if you guys are just now tuning in, or if you guys have been here and not watching the other channel, that is another match we have reporting in.
So we have 46 runners in the tournament, so that's 23 matches a week. And of course, with these Swiss flags, they're going to get increasingly stratified as we go through it. Right now, we're just at week 2, but we have another 3 weeks of exciting Swiss round action here for you. xIceblue not enjoying this encounter.
No, but this is a very high-value encounter with 5 Whiz Mummies.
All right, so the robot should have our last incentive item that we need here. And then we also have 6 treasure chests that we get to check here.
Yeah, and so this is going to be the crown, barring any other weird thing. And so at some point our runners, xIceblue in this particular case, is going to do his crown chest. We don't know if he's going to go ahead and do C real quick, or if he's going to go back to do his crown chest. Meanwhile, we have Edgeworth entering the volcano, looking to take on Carrie.
Also checking out the armory here, and there are several really nice pieces of equipment that we have not seen yet. And the armory is a really nice place to go visit because you get a whole lot of chest value all in one place.
Yeah, we are missing a large sword, something to buff the attack power in the power gauntlet. I call it the power glove. We are missing some heavier armor for our knight, like dragon armor, Aegis shield. It'd be nice to see potentially an opal bracelet. We've got our white shirt already, where Haps might be the defense sword, or that dumpster fire of a Vorpal sword.
Yeah, oh, there's the power bonk. So that's one of the things we're looking for. And of course, there's the Vorpal sword, which is beloved by one person and one person only. We love you, Czar.
As we see, xIceblue has found a ribbon in what I think, yeah, that is, I'll say, a slightly non-traditional check spot. He's actually going to go see the ladies. And on the way, there is a ribbon in the right-hand room. So that's a great pickup by xIceblue. That might be something Edge misses. We'll see what happens.
This is a strategy I've seen a couple of times now. Will Cleosis used this to reasonably good effect in his victory over Tristal a couple of nights ago. And now we're watching xIceblue sort of follow suit. We're going to check all of these chests. They're out of the way. They're not really within the progression that you would look for to finish these seeds quickly, but there are several really nice chests here, so let's see what he finds.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of like this play with Exit as well, because it's actually a total of, I believe, 15 chests you can check right here. 13 of them are encounter-free right here, and then there's there's one right outside and then one nearby outside. So it's a good 15 chests, and with the exit spell, it's minimal risk. So I do like this play, especially if he wants to grab maybe a level or 2, killing a Ghost Shark encounter or a Ghost encounter on the way.
Edgeworth finding the Sun Sword down here in the lower levels of the volcano. Sun Sword can do this in a pinch. If you want to give that to your melee damage dealer, especially with the power bonk, this can be done.
Yeah, we noticed Sunsword is probably the bare minimum sword that you're going to want, as xIceblue picks up a Pro Cape in the bottom right-hand corner of Mermaids. That's another decent pick.
But really, by and large, besides the Pro Cape, and it looks like an Opal Gauntlet, there was not a ton here of value that the Mermaids are hiding today.
The only thing he did get as a result of Mermaids, it's more of a byproduct, if you will, is he did stop at that first chest on the right on the first floor, which did net him a ribbon. So we'll see if Edgeworth leans in that direction and whether or not he picks up that chest.
xIceblue uses one of his warp charges to go ahead and make this run a little bit easier to get on out of here, but he does not have exit that I'm aware of, and so you will have to do a little bit of running in order to complete this gamble he's taken.
I don't think I mind if he's going to gain, potentially a level or two out of. Oh, it looks like he is going to do a small grind here. But this is not the fight to grind. This fight is probably the lowest value of many of our fights that you get in the Sea Shrine. And he's probably looking for that double Gershark or Gershark Big Eye fight.
And if you blinked it, If you blinked, you missed the carry encounter there for Edgeworth. She was on the screen for all of about 5 or 7 seconds before Edgeworth nuked her into oblivion.
Yep, when you have nukes and fades for days, the first tier of Fiends will hardly stand up. So there's a little bit of, I won't say advantage on Edgeworth's side, because being that they're not in the same place, we're going to have to go back and see how long it takes xIceblue to do the Earth Cave, how long does it take him to do the volcano. It looked like Edgeworth skipped a good bit of chests on B4 of volcano. So we'll see if that comes back to bite him and whether xIceblue goes and checks those chests.
This is a fascinating strategy that xIceblue is employing here. I don't think I've ever seen anyone grind these encounters before. This is a reasonable one. But there's other places you can go to also grind. So I'll be very, very interested to see how this pays off down the road.
What a lot of our runners will do is, even if you are looking for a grind or a place to do levels, a lot of them will go to Sky, go Floating Fortress, Mirage Tower first. There's higher value items or higher value encounters in that dungeon, more chests, less potential unrunnable encounters. I'm thinking of the old version before the unrunnable encounter shuffle, as xIceblue gets this double Gershark fight, which is going to be worth a fair bit, and it looks like they are low on hit points, so good fight there.
Edgeworth finishes his shopping here in Melmond and is looks like he's headed south around the world to the northern continent. And we'll be joining xIceblue after picking up his Gaia bottle.
Yep, because that's what happens when the world is round. If you sail on round one side, you will come out the top. So ignore the map being flat. The world.
The world is a big tube.
Correct. The one thing I don't like about Edge's play right now, and again, I can never criticize anybody who is better than me, but he has not class changed yet, and he's checking the magic shops, and he's checking these things that, in his mind, these are things that he might potentially would have to double dip if he is like, oh, I need to class change and come back and get the spell or otherwise. Unless he's not planning on class changing at all, which could be a big risk as a time saver for him. He doesn't get to equip dragon armor or any of those things that he may not find.
I need to talk to this shopkeeper who decided to price the loot at 10,000. I think anybody in marketing and pricing will tell you that you need to price that at $99.99 because it looks so much cheaper.
$99.99 and 9/10 of a cent.
Edgeworth picking up his Oxy Ale. Exits on out as xIceblue continues now on the Kraken side of Sea Shrine. Edgeworth will go ahead and check the Zardia Islands for his resources. We'll see whether or not he decides to class change. There's a Thor's Hammer. That'll be useful coming up here in Sea Shrine for him. And so this is a really interesting seed we're watching here from xIceblue. We're grinding in some interesting locations. We've gone to visit the mermaids. We have a dead white mage in the party. This will be very interesting to see whether or not this approach pays off down the stretch.
I think we're I can't remember if xIceBlue's been to the Zardia Islands yet or not, so I think he has. I remember seeing that wizard staff now.
Another double Gur shark encounter. xIceblue will be happy to see this. This will net him about 1,600 experience. $16.96. I was off by 4. Edgeworth also heading toward the direction of Anrak. We will see whether or not he wants to go do Waterfall first. It looks like he might be angling in that direction.
Yeah, I think you got to hope that you're checking the 6 chests in Waterfall. If you haven't seen them yet, you don't know what they are, you may be hoping for a Massa or something that'll help you in the Kraken fight. Because Kraken 1 is not a boss to be taken lightly. Even though you can have nukes and fades for days, sometimes Kraken 1 can ruin your day.
And I see our friend and fellow commentator Trenton here in chat. xIceblue is visiting what Trenton loves to call the Sharknado room, and I think that has caught on with the rest of our community. Sharks and Wiz Sahags and Lord knows what else lives in here.
It's I would say it's an underrated grinding tile, but it's so deep into the dungeon, I'd be afraid that you'd use too many charges or otherwise to get those. Maybe if you had a master or something that can get through that fight quick, it's not a bad one because you get 1-2 Gur Sharks plus that Wizzahog. You can get up to 1,800 or so experience on that fight, but it depletes your resources a bit.
And xIceblue now entering the realm of 5 to 7 lobster encounters, which can be terribly frightening, depending on what they have in store for you.
Lobsters are so hot and cold sometimes. Sometimes they hit ridiculously, and sometimes they hit ridiculously soft. It looks like we've got about a middle value here, but that's not been my experience with lobsters.
I prefer my lobsters with salted butter. Sea trolls, not so much, though.
So we're going to get our first look at Kraken 1, as xIceblue is continuing his 3-man quest for dominance.
Opts to not bring Dan back up. I thought we might have seen the little white mage that could come back up to be greeted by Kraken, but he may not have a life charge.
That is possible, because sometimes it is good to bring back one of these lower-level characters to eat a couple of tentacles to the face so that one of your important party members does not.
That was a very, very nice nuke charge, and here comes the second one. And wow, Kraken is still here and just decided to fast himself, so hurry up, xIceblue.
And there we go. Looks like he had probably in the neighborhood of 900 hit points or so.
Calamari on the menu for xIceblue. Edgeworth is headed in that direction as well.
You know, I didn't realize Kraken 1 was religious with that fast.
But ching.
Ladies and gentlemen, be all night. Be sure to tip your bartender.
So xIceblue holding about a dungeon and a half lead, I would say, at this point. Edgeworth does have to go visit Ordeals yet, has not done that. The thing here, though, is that xIceblue is down 1 Fiend dungeon, so this may be a closer race than it looks like.
Maybe. The biggest telltale is going to be how long it takes him to do that Earth Cave, because that is where a lot of that time is going to... It's going to come in Discovery, as if it takes xIceblue, about 5 minutes to clear the Earth Cave, which, it's about par for the course when you are fully leveled and fully geared up and whatnot. Earth Cave really does not take that long, depending on how your encounter tables go. We know Edgeworth struggled mightily with that Earth Cave, so that is where xIceblue would be looking to potentially widen that gap. And even then, with Edge now going back into Sea Shrine, he could be done with Kraken before you blink.
And lo and behold, the lobsters decided to come out huge and angry today. I saw like hits for 190 damage. That is not going to be an encounter that you want to have them strike first on. So bless RNGs in chat for Edgeworth, because xIceblue saw nothing like that.
And you notice it looks like Edgeworth skipped that chest on the right that I told you xIceblue got, that got him the ribbon. Edgeworth's skipping that one chest. You can't possibly know, but there is a way you can route it where it's sort of on the way.
xIceblue completing the crown shuffle and finding dragon armor, a ribbon, the mage staff, and adamant.
Wow! That is a stocked pond right there.
That is your knight starter pack right there.
That's going to have to lead, if Edgeworth decides to check, that's going to have to lead him to class change at some point. But right now, he's just losing charges on his fighter. I don't know why he's not class changing at this point, but I've got to imagine he has his reasons.
xIceblue pressing his luck and deciding to check more chests, even though he practically found everything he could have wanted. Well, never mind. There's another ribbon.
Well, that is all 3 ribbons for xIceblue, and Edgeworth unfortunately missing that first one. We'll see if and how many crown chests the Edgeworth checks. Northwest Castle is sometimes not a popular one for racers to check, just because it's 3 somewhat out of the way. You got to walk around Astos' room and whatnot to get to him, and if you're pressed for time, sometimes those 3 get skipped. And so we'll see what Edgeworth does and whatnot. But right now, it's kind of looking like xIceblue's got a good lead so far.
Yeah, this is like a boulder rolling downhill at this point. Here we go into the Dwarf Cave chests. Flame Shield.
Oh, it looks like Dwarf Cave is a bust.
That was decidedly less hype than what we were having there previously. Edgeworth nearing Lobster Land here again. He's got a couple Gershark fights here that he's going to go ahead and take. And then this is not going to be a safe run to Kraken.
It looks like xIceblue is doing the slab translate, and we'll see if he goes to Earth Cave here. I think he's checking spells now that he has gotten his class change. The White Magic Cure 4 will be usable on that Red Wizard, which is really nice. But unfortunately, your bottom 2 spells are restricted from Red Wizard use. But he is not going to Earth Cave. That's one of those ones I'd like to do because you're in the area. And he's sufficiently leveled, nuked out and weaponed out at this point. Earth Cave would not have been a bad play right there. But again, he's better than me. So. Yeah, that exit spell, I'm surprised xIceblue didn't pick that up earlier. That exit spell is in the 3rd slot, which was Red Mage learnable.
I actually think this is his first trip to Elfland. I don't think he's been here yet.
Well, when you have Nuke and Fade, I guess you don't really ever have to visit anything else. Unfortunately, we don't have fast. I believe somebody pointed out that Temper was 7.
Good heavens, the lobsters are hitting Lou the fighter for 150 damage apiece, and they have stun touch.
They pinch.
This is just one of those situations where the RNG giveth to one player and taketh away from another. This is a harrowing sea shrine for Edgeworth.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think that's the last thing he needs right now. After a harrowing Earth Cave, I think he just needed smooth sailing, and unfortunately, it's just not coming to him.
xIceblue finishing up his shopping here in Elfland, and then we'll see where he's off to next. It looks good for Edgeworth because this would be his 3rd orb that he gets to light to xIceblue's 1. But you also look down at the equipment below xIceblue, and that gives you a bit of a different story.
Well, in addition to that, Edgeworth has not been to Castle Ordeals yet, so hopefully he's going to have an easier time with Castle Ordeals. About the only thing we saw were those cremate mummies, so he should be able to take care of those, no problem. Now we have xIceblue picking up some pro rings and heading to the Earth Cave. I do like this play because you're kind of in the area, and you're easily going to take that out.
We have our chat giving a running commentary or a running count of how many times Edge has run into lobster ambushes, and I think that was 4 or 5 now.
Would that be the one that picked up the shadow ambush? That's one of our new values that was added in the randomizer, was actually the ambush rate shuffle. That is part of our things that get shuffled.
xIceblue, having surveyed all of the chests that he conquered, wept and decided to check no more chests. He is go-moding Earth Cave.
Which, I mean, from the benefit of hindsight, we know there's nothing there, but I would like to see him check that north chest. But with X-Cal, Dragon Armor, 3 ribbons, and Wallet 2, he's got to feel like he's just got to complete this thing. He's probably going to breeze right through Floating Fortress, Mirage Tower, and maybe setting foot in Temple of Fiends Revisited here coming up soon. To answer, Fuchsia's question in chat, Life 1 was the 3rd slot in Crescent Lake. Yes, Red Wizard can use it. Unfortunately, I don't think Red Wizard gets a charge of 6 until 20 or so. So it's going to be a little while before he gets it.
All right, Edgeworth has almost reached the promised land of Kraken at this point. Just a few more steps to go. Meanwhile, xIceblue is just flying through Earth Cave, having a very different experience than Edgeworth had when Edge was here.
Yeah, and that's going to be the major difference at this point is how these encounters get handled. When Edgeworth was lower level, less spells, less party members alive, this was much more difficult. Less castable items. This was far more difficult for Edgeworth, and I think that even all the encounters and even the ambush lobsters at this point, the lead that xIceblue seemingly has at this point is more in the decision of going to different places at different times, going Sea Shrine first instead of Earth Cave at low levels, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm. Edgeworth makes it to the water orb, but look at Bill. Bill has Bill is a lovely statuette here and is going to be of no use in this encounter. Maybe we don't have any soft potions?
That's one of those things we sort of take for granted because we don't see a whole lot of Poison Stone. I think only 1 or 2 things in the game have Poison Stone, and I think only 1, maybe 2 things have Poison Touch. When those get shuffled, there's a pretty good chance that we usually don't see those sorts of things. And that and soft potions tend to be really expensive at the start, and then we forget about them until we need them. So I guarantee you Edgeworth will go buy some soft potions in Canaria. And just like that, xIceblue is done with the Earth Cave. So just take the difference in their gap and go ahead and add that to xIceblue's lead at this point. And now he's going to go check the volcano. I wonder what he's going to search down there with 3 ribbons and probably enough firepower to take on Chaos at this point. We'll see if he visits the armory.
Nope, doesn't look like it. He ran right by it.
That's going to decidedly favor xIceblue with all the equipment that he has. I can't even remember his Sun Sword. Oh, he's going to miss out on the Power Gauntlet. So we'll see if he goes back for it. But the Power Gauntlet was in the armory. So that is going to be an item that is going to be of importance because Temper's at level 7. And Fast is, I think, either 7 or 8. So we definitely don't have any way to buff the fighter's firepower at this point. And with the seemingly limited, I know it's level 1 and 2, so you get a ton of those charges, but with a seemingly limited pool of spells to cast, we'll see if he can hold out long enough to take out the 4 Fiends and Chaos.
Edgeworth makes his way through the Kraken fight, immediately buys 10 soft potions and brings Bill the Black Mage back up. I'm interested to see if he's going to finally go ahead and do a cash in that tail and class change now.
Yeah, he's pretty high level. He's missed out on some charges of the Fade Wall and Invis 2 that could be important later. Fade on the Knight, maybe not so much, but those Invis 2s and Walls can help out, especially if he's going to find or not find the same ribbons that xIceblue has found. But xIceblue has several advantages. One, he's already done Ordeals where Edgeworth has, and two, he's already not only done his crown chests, or crown quests, but checked the Mystic Key chests and gotten all the rewards from that. These are advantages that Edgeworth currently does not have.
Edgeworth ducked into Gaia there to go ahead and save his game quickly. And we'll see where he's off to next. Probably the required Castle Ordeals play. Yes, it is, and here he goes.
Now, our runners have reached the point where these things should be pretty easy for them. There shouldn't be a whole lot of hiccups for our runners beyond this point. Edgeworth's going to enter a place where he's kind of overleveled, and certainly xIceblue is well past overleveled for the Volcano at this point. And as quick a work as Edgeworth made of carry, it should be just as fast for xIceblue.
So far for xIceblue, as we get into 1 hour, the 3-man strats here in the option to Dan the White Mage is paying off in spades for him.
Yep. We know that Temple of Fiends Revisited is the great equalizer, and the one advantage Edgeworth has is having that power bonk, and so we will see if that's important, because that's not always a guarantee that you're going to win, or not having it is not a guarantee you're going to lose.
Edge decides to burn his 1 warp charge there, and it paid off. It gets him up to the 3rd floor of Castle Ordeals here. Meanwhile, xIceblue nukes Carry into Oblivion again. Carry 1 not having much today.
So now we can see, now that our runners have 3 orbs lit, you can see the decided advantage that xIceblue has over Edgeworth, with Edgeworth being not only in the middle of Castle Ordeals, not only not having done his crown chest, but he has about to get the slab, so he has to actually go back to Melmond and have that slab translated. And so you can see from this point forward, you can start to tabulate what xIceblue's lead is. And here comes one of these juicy Tyros. It looks like xIceblue's running from it.
Gentle, majestic creatures never hurt anyone.
Whose innards are so juicy you just can't help yourself.
Giants, on the other hand, go ahead and nuke those down immediately.
And so now Edgeworth picking up his slab, getting out of there, now is likely going to go ahead and translate his slab. Has he tailed yet? Did I miss it?
Nope, still has not tailed yet.
I just got the sense that with a red mage and a white mage, he feels with no life spells, he's got to not really value the charges of spells on that fighter. That's the only reason I can sense that he would not have it would not have class changed up to this point.
xIceblue making quick work of trading in that chime and picking that baby up so that he can go right on over here to Sky Castle and Mirage Tower next. Lets the 1st floor chests in Mirage Tower go. We'll see if he ducks into the 10 chests here in the greater than less than room.
Yeah, I probably doubt that at this point. He definitely has to feel like he's in a great position at this point. I guess I would question looking for the power gauntlet, but he's got to feel like with the Excalibur, all those nuke and fade charges, 3 ribbons, wall invis, 2 white shirt, he's got to feel like he's in a good position.
And now Edgeworth is going to go ahead and class change.
As we see xIceblue taking the less conventional right way around the path instead of the left way.
Well, with these extra encounters that xIceblue has sort of built into his route here, we're not going to, I think, we're not going to be hurting for night white magic charges. I think he's going to be at least level 23 if he wants to pick up any magic spells for that night.
And there's the airship thing. What else do you call a ship in space but a spaceship?
There you go.
So now we can see Edgeworth just now entering Mirage Tower.
Not quite.
Oh. That is a bonk right there.
The way is closed.
Well, at least Edgeworth translated his slap.
Yeah, I believe he did, yes. I hope and pray.
This would send him on some kind of tilt, and I'm sure he's gotten adamant, but I've only ever known him to be kind of a soft-spoken guy, and so it'd be interesting to hear him on tilt.
Confused old man says bad words. Oh, good, he did. Thank heavens.
Okay, breathe a sigh of relief, folks.
Alrighty, meanwhile, xIceblue reaches the Bridge of Destiny, and I think we are precisely at the wrong part of the encounter table that he wants to be at for this.
So if you're ready for that War Mech sighting, feel free to give those bless RNGs in chat. A War Mech is going to certainly slow him down.
Lo and behold. Hi, War Mech.
Oh, and he gets right away.
Run not validated.
So we see Edgeworth checking the first floor chests. He is not in the same position xIceblue is. I think he does not have... Yeah, he does not have a ribbon because he missed the one in Sea Shrine. And the other two are crown locked. So he has none of those. He does not have the adamant because he did not do his crown chest treasures yet. Yes, crown quest treasures.
There you go.
That's a mouthful.
xIceblue running into a truly amazing amount of encounters here on the Bridge of Destiny, but only one War Mech so far.
Yeah. And those mud goals are in heat. That's never good.
They just want to hug you.
There's another War Mech, but he gets the ambush. He's going to take it. He got the ambush, so I think he's going for it. Oh, he's got a ton of absorb.
Well, now you can't get out of it either. That was your chance.
No, you committed. Oh, a reasonable and respectful hit, and he does down the War Mech, so we've got a War Mech down, and he's level 24.
Wow. Experience for everyone.
Except that Dan. Oh, yeah, another War Mech!
Lo and behold, here we go.
That is 3 War Mechs on the Bridge of Destiny. Now just get them back to back to back, and you can be like me.
Well, after that, Tiamat's going to be boring.
Yeah, I should just mow right over him. Even Thunder's kind of like, nah.
Yeah, boring. We've got 3 ribbons.
Question for RD Platypus in chat. Is War Mech the same encounter as Ambush Lobsters? We honestly don't know. One of the features of Final Fantasy Randomizer is the encounter shuffle. So where there are normally 8 encounters in any given 64 by 64 square in the overworld, or on every single floor that there are encounters in the world, that 1 to 8 is shuffled per floor or per region. So in actuality, there are 4 regions over there by Crescent Lake in which Encounter 1 Peds could be there. So we actually don't know if they share any encounters with anything else. It's not predictable.
And I see in chat there the cries for Bane as Tiamat fell prey to the poison smoke sword.
Well, they say Tiamat's just 5 Agamas duct taped together, so it wouldn't surprise me that something like that would take him.
Every time Tiamat gets baned, a split punch gets his wings. So that's 4 lit orbs for xIceblue in an hour and 9 minutes, with a whole lot of equipment to go along with it. And we're heading into Temple of Fiends Revisited here quite shortly. After a word from our sponsors to pick up Fade on the night. I love it.
Do you skip out on wall? I guess you don't need it when you've got 3 ribbons.
Three ribbons and a damned white mage.
And so we've got Edgeworth finding the opal bracelet. Now, yes, this is a fairly sizable lead for xIceblue. We're probably going to put it at the, I'd say 7 or 8 minutes at this point.
Sure.
It's depending because Edgeworth is stopping to take chests and whatnot. But the big thing is going to be that xIceblue does not have that power gauntlet. So are his levels enough to overcome the high absorb of some of our fiends?
That is the risk you run with a 3-man party. If a Kraken 2 gets a hold of, say, for example, your white mage and then your black mage, this could get dicey real fast for xIceblue. Not that Kraken would ever do such a thing.
Tristal corrected me in chat. It's way more than 8 minutes. I did forget. I was just kind of clocking the time exiting the floating fortress, but you're absolutely right. Once again, he has still not done his crown chain quests or tried to fish any of those treasure chests out.
Of note there, Fast is at level 8, and even at level 24 that xIceblue's at right there, he does not have a level 8 spell charge. And so we might watch a tiny bit of a grind here so that he can get access to that spell.
Yeah, he'd only need 1 more level on that black mage to cast the Fast.
It's a couple of gas dragon encounters, and you've got it.
We found the TNT and the trash sword in the same room. One would be hard-pressed to just set the TNT off in the room and take the sword with it.
Edgeworth still hunting for those ribbons that are going to elude him here on this floor of the Sky Castle.
And he's going to be upset when he either finds the 2 or realizes where the 3rd is, or when we tell him where the 3rd is. He might be a little upset.
xIceblue enjoying the sights of Canaria there for a couple of extra walking areas, and down he goes next to the Temple of Fiends Revisited, entering in at 1 hour and 12 minutes.
It looks like he is going to grind unless he fat-fingered the left button, which I have done. And there is our level 25. Oh, he's going to get 1 more level. Oh, he's going to get 1 more level because when you get a spell charge at any given level, the very next level gives you a 2nd charge. And so I think that's what he's going to do. He has accidentally found a long encounter. He is, I think, going to go ahead and get that 26th level to get 2 charges of Fast in case Kraken 2 happens to be a high absorb gatekeep.
Double warm encounter, very nice here for experience.
The 2 rock goal encounter on Edgeworth's side is going to be a high value fight too. And I think Edgeworth has had enough of the rot goals running from this next encounter.
You know, the good thing for Edgeworth here is that he's running into this nasty stretch of encounters down here on this floor as opposed to the Bridge of Destiny.
Yeah, because I think they both would have started their encounter tables in the same spot. That encounter 2 or encounter 3 looks a fairly significant run. And unfortunately, Edge's party is down to just the knight, and he's asleep. And he resets. So now he is reset, and there's the power cycle. Okay, so that is what xIceblue basically did on his because encounters 2 and 3 are fairly good runs. And so if my math is right, we should have 3 war mechs on Edgeworth's side, as we have xIceblue making his way over to the Phantom now.
Making the Phantom runnable was one of the nicest things that Encounter Shuffle did for us here in the unrunnable shuffle.
Oh yeah, Phantom is unfortunate. I think Phantom is the worst monster in the game. I mean, he's so beefy, he hits hard, and has worth nothing.
xIceblue just burning nuke charges because he can here.
Question chat, did Edge die? Yeah, he hit an unfortunate man-cat Medusa fight that took out 3 of his 4 party members, and then slept his fighter, and so he just reset out before taking the wipe. And it looks like he is going back for what I can't remember. Oh, the opal bracelet. I think is what he's going back for over here. So that might change. It's a possibility that might change the encounter structure just a little bit. As he is no longer wasting steps checking chests other than the ones he's going for. We could only see 2 war mechs. I think that war mech came early-ish in that floor. I can't remember, but I think that's what happened. And if that war mech came early in the floor, Edgeworth might actually burn that encounter off here on this floor by accident.
2 war mechs is a veritable war mech drought.
It's just not the same. Oh, he went to pick up a pro ring. There's still an opal bracelet to be had, but I think it might have been one of the rooms on 1F of Mirage instead of 3F, and I think he just skipped over them.
Man, I think that was the rock golem that got a hold of the Black Wizard on xIceblue's side for about 200 damage in a melee. That was scary.
Yeah, it was good that he had the hit points to be able to absorb that. But a lot of times we usually say, well, 19 to 21 is usually a pretty good level here because you want to have something that has a better than not chance to survive a nuke or nuclear. And as we can see, the max HP, I believe, on that Black Mage is 278. So it's still a heads up whether or not he would survive a nuke blast. But he does have a better than not chance as Lich 2 goes down on xIceblue's side.
Yeah, almost no HP there on Lich 2 there.
Oh, and Edgeworth going back and picking up the TNT again, and unfortunately that's a little bit of wasted time in the melody and the pause of picking up that TNT, and he's also out of warp charges, so he has to walk this one back. I still think he gets the 2 war mechs, but he is burning off. Oh, it's lit 3. Ouch. It looks like he's actually going to forego. All right, so he's going to get a new random sort of encounter table from this point on. I think he is just going to go with the encounter table at this point because that's twice now he's hit that man-cat Medusa fight and has wiped. And so I think he's just going to continue the encounter table from that point, hoping to avoid that fight.
And carry has just not been a factor in this seed any way, shape, or form. A couple swats with the Excalibur, and down she went. So now we're back onto the faded water floor, and Kraken 2 awaits for xIceblue. This is where things start to get interesting.
Yeah, it looks like the waters are unrunnable. If not, he's taking this encounter unnecessarily. Oh, no, it looks like they are, and Black Mage was just applying some needed evasion, which unfortunately Black Mage is going to be your best runner at this point, so having him do the white shirt charges is it's a little tough, but, he's trying to survive here. Oh, this is interesting. This high-value experience fight is unrunnable. Oh, and triple low rolls on the first nuke.
Yow.
And how low rolls on the second nuke.
Big Eye encounters with Blizzard. I love it. Ooh, here come the lobsters.
Sort of a response in chat from Max talking about wondering if he'll hit the same encounter stretch. That depends, because if you've sort of evaluated the first, let's call it 15 or so encounters, and you realize there's a chunky spot a little late in those 15, maybe you take your chances on what's beyond that in the encounter table. Sometimes you try to do a little mental math in your head right around that time and go, okay, where are some of the long runs just a little ways into the encounter table? And you start thinking about, where is that when that run comes? Is that the fire floor? Is that the water floor? Is that the air floor? As chunky as those encounters are right there, did I miss? Oh, wow.
Oh, you did.
Reset out.
That is turn 1 nuke on Kraken 2.
Oh, never pleasant.
And then all of a sudden now that Black Mage sitting at 287 hit points, that might not even be enough. And it's at what, level 25, level 26?
25, I think. 25 or 20, one of the two. But anyway, yeah, just to sort of finish that thought, that is something that runners can take and try to apply to their advantage, and how the encounter table in terms of the number of steps applies and to see. So xIceblue may have just taken the encounter table where it stands after that chunk, as Edgeworth takes another wipe in the Mirage Tower.
Welcome to Reset Week here at Speed Gaming 2.
In a seed that was moving so fast, it has now come to a grinding halt. As we are trying to progress through the last dungeon on xIceblue side and the last Fiend dungeon on Edgeworth side. Both of them have given them fits, as Kraken 2 has an opening turn nuke, and Edgeworth is dealing with some lit 3, either Medusas or Mancats. I think the Mancats have lit 3. I mean, he's not handling it very well.
And you know, the difference here for Edgeworth, who has not had a pleasant ride this seed, is that he has 0 of the 3 ribbons that xIceblue had when xIceblue decided to come through Sky Castle here. And that, that renders lit 3, more laughable when you run into a whole encounter full of them.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a shame, because one of those ribbons he bypassed, it was one chest he passed on his way to Mermaids. He opted to pass it up where xIceblue picked it up, and that happened to be a ribbon. And then the other 2 are in crown chests, which, you could argue could have been done at this point. To see if there were anything, like we knew Elfland Castle was loaded. We know the other ribbon is in Northwest Castle. And so, these are things that could have been done. But I know in some circles, doing the crown chain, some people can feel like it's a waste of time. So I guess it'd just be a matter of asking them when this race is over, kind of what was going through their minds.
What's going through the mind of xIceblue right now is he's wondering what he did to the fandom to make him so mad at him. He just vivisected the Black Wizard. Here he is again. Only 106 damage that time.
Gets a little lucky.
Edgeworth on the maze floor here is just trying to sprint for the exit at this point.
Yeah, and I think he could still hit that Mancat Medusa fight on this floor as well. So it's one of those ones he's going to want to get off of this as soon as humanly possible. Quick side note, one of our flags that we're adding to, I believe, the tournament finals is the Sky 4F Pillar Shuffle, which shuffles the location of both the entrance and the exit pillar to this floor. And so I know that is one of Edgeworth's least favorite additions as it comes to the Mirage Tower. So it's going to be interesting to see how that affects our runners in the future.
Okay, Edgeworth finally gets a nuke off against the Mancats, and down they go. bringing his party back up to snuff. xIceblue is going to probably plow through Carry here again, and then he'll be back down onto the water floor. Oh, here come the Medusas and Mancats again.
Oh, and Mancats come out with the Lit 3. Is that an ambush fight, or did he get commands? It looked like it was an ambush.
Oh, and poison. Wow.
Oh, and Sleeps his Newtcaster and more Lit 3s, and oh, this is just not looking good.
Well, now what do you do?
Well, he got out of the fight, so it looks like he might just try to man mode this.
Lou versus 3 Warmax. Here we go.
I think he probably pushed past that part of the encounter table as he was trying to skip the Medusa Mancat on 3F, or maybe even 4F, and trying to skip that, he may have actually pushed past the known Warmech encounters. Now, from this point, we need some more Blessed RNGs, because we don't know what we're going to get beyond this point. There could be more Warmechs, who knows?
I don't know if the Blessed RNGs are for Warmech or for Edgeworth at this point.
He's got a white shirt, he can move over, and the Power Gauntlet on a Sun Sword. So if he can load up those Invis charges and get to swinging, we'll see what happens.
We don't want to... I know we're all watching Edgeworth's car crash in slow motion here, but xIceblue is nearing Kraken 2 again with no red mage and no white mage to speak of.
Yes, and for those of you in chat who are part of our tournament, who may be new players or otherwise, watch this game because this is another one of those games where sometimes the luck is just not on your side, and any player can beat any other player because of things like this. And what's happening to even both of our runners is the door was kind of opened by Kraken 2. Is that a double nuke?
No, that was just one, fortunately. I don't know. Is Nuke fortunate or unfortunate at this point?
He lost the other red mage, and I wasn't sure how. I was looking over at Edgeworth's screen, checking for Warmax, and I did not see how the red mage died.
The red mage died before he got to Kraken, and then the knight ate a 590 hit point strike, and then Nuke came out.
Which is okay. So Edgeworth downs Tiamat. So this is interesting because Edgeworth still has to do his Crown Chain quests. If he checks those chests, if he picks up that dragon armor and at least those 2 ribbons, we'll see what happens.
The double Bane to bring Tiamat down. That is just fabulous.
Yeah, both of our runners employing the Bane strats. Edgeworth more out of necessity, xIceblue more out of the memes.
xIceblue deciding to slow it down here is going to take some more encounters. 2 trips to go visit Kraken 2, same result, and so he's deciding he's going to get some levels.
The worst part about that is no Power Glove is going to save you from that. So it's going to be interesting to see how Edgeworth handles this going forward. He's got to check these crown chests. He has no ribbons, no dragon armor. He has a Vorpal sword, and I think that's about it. And the Power Gauntlet. And so I feel like he has got to check these crown chests.
You know, the interesting thing is that the dragon armor would help Edgeworth immensely, but there has really not been much down here in Temple of Fiends Revisited that would require a ribbon that we've seen yet. xIceblue's just been running from a bunch of the encounters down here, and Lich and Carry and Kraken haven't shown us anything that would require a ribbon for protection.
Yeah, absolutely, and that makes me wonder how Edgeworth is going to handle this, because, I mean, by all accounts, xIceblue's in a much better position with the levels and with all of the equipment, and yet Kraken, he don't care about your equipment or your levels or nothing like that. And so, like I said, it's just going to be interesting to see how Edgeworth handles this, and maybe it's going to require a little bit of luck, whoever comes out on the other side.
In that initial decision all the way back at the beginning of this seed to run a 3-man party as opposed to Edgeworth's 4-man party may come down and be a deciding factor here at the end. We'll have to watch as we continue.
Yeah, it's a tough call because what would your white mage be doing? Is that white, because that white mage isn't throwing up anything that's going to stop that first turn nuke or that first spell nuke.
Yeah, boy, those level 2 fade charges would be nice right about now.
Oh, sure. Sure, and I'm certainly stacking the evasion because in some ways we say, oh yeah, keep hitting because that way you're not casting spells. But Kraken doesn't care about that either. He'll hit you, hits the very well geared fighter for 590 something damage, whatever that amount was. He doesn't even care. And so we've got Edgeworth getting the Northwest Castle chests now.
And if somebody could, I'm sure Edgeworth had some choice words to say as he saw these 4 chests here.
He's going to feel worse if he goes to, well, maybe better if he goes to Northwest Castle and finds the other ribbon. Oh, we might skip it. It looks like he's skipping it. We'll see if he gets back to it.
Immediately going over to, my guess here is Provoca to pick up some spells on that night. Oh, maybe not.
Oh, he's not checking any more chests. He's diving right in.
All right, everyone, we officially have a race. Edgeworth has entered the Temple of Fiends Revisited at 1 hour, 29 minutes. Let's call it 1 hour and 30 minutes. He's a full 28 minutes? No, 18 minutes behind xIceblue, but here he comes.
Yeah, one of the downsides is that Black Mage is really low level. Hopefully those life charges will pick him up when he goes down, but that's his max HP at 186 there. So that puts him in like the what is that? The 16 neighborhood, 18 maybe. It's not till 21 that he even gets like close to the 250 mark.
This is where Edgeworth's experience, though, will also aid him. We're 1 hour and 30 minutes in. He knows that he has played. He hasn't played an awful game, but the game has been awful to him. And that xIceblue is not done yet, is probably informing his decision here a little bit. He must suspect that something awful is down here.
Okay, so Edgeworth is opting for that reset, so we're going to see what happens. In addition to the nastiness of Kraken 2, how is that encounter table going to affect him at that particular point? As we have xIceblue still grinding, and Edgeworth is making a move. If the breaks go Edgeworth's way, all this grinding for xIceblue could be for naught. I would favor xIceblue at this point, but yeah, definitely don't count out Edgeworth's experience or what he brings to the table. I mean, this wasn't the number 3 and number two and number 3 runners of our fall tournament for nothing. So I definitely expect them both to finish this. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
So Edgeworth is going to test the lower levels of Temple of Fiends Revisited here. Technically ahead of xIceblue now, but with none of the knowledge that xIceblue has. xIceblue continuing his grind up towards level 30 now at this point with that 3-man party that he's rocking.
Yeah, he's definitely got to be able to. He's got to be able to eat that nuke and have nobody die. That's the more important thing about this particular grind, is that no one can die. It's the one downside to not having your white mage up with reliable life. That red mage is going to have some life spells, but that is not to discount what Lich 2 or Carry 2 could have. Yes, xIceblue has cleaved through those a couple of times, but that doesn't mean they can't get a first turn skill or spell off that might be nasty.
xIceblue's Black Wizard now teetering at 299 hit points. So let's see if xIceblue going to chance this now, or whether or not he wants to go ahead and still get more HP on that Black Wizard.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough call because a nuke can hit for up to is it up to 400 or up to 380 or something like that?
Upwards of that direction, absolutely.
So certainly, like I said, 21 gets you kind of a better than not chance, I'd say, but definitely anything beyond 250 hit points, you're just trying to get closer and closer to that assurance. But there's no guarantees in life. Not only that, we don't really know what's beyond nuke. We don't know if there's a skill in there that I don't think I've seen a skill yet to see if there's not a nuclear on the other side, or a swirl or a tornado or something like that.
So here's the conundrum, and here's what we're going to find out, is whether or not Edgeworth's relatively lower-leveled party, with the fourth member up, with access to level 2 Fade, if he's going to be able to just blast down these revisited Fiends in time in order to save his party and win this. xIceblue is right behind him now, about 2 floors behind.
I think if you're Edgeworth and you know the game has been kind of rotten to you, he's got to know something's up. And so I wonder how he approaches these next few Fiend fights, maybe either defensively or perhaps, sort of an all-out balls to the wall. I don't know, because, with as high a caliber of both of these players, the fact that neither of them have finished at the 130, 135 mark may lead the other to believe, okay, xIceblue's found it, Edgeworth's about to, but, it makes you ask the question of, all right, what's really going on over there?
Edgeworth catches the wrong end of Carrie's attack there, and the white wizard is down, so he's down to 3 party members now. He's starting to unload equipment.
Yeah, where Edgeworth does not have those levels, does not have access to that level 6 life, there's not a whole lot you could do at this point. He might consider exiting out and keeping any levels he may have gotten, but at this point, I think he's got to feel like xIceblue is probably on his 2nd or 3rd try on Chaos, even, because he doesn't know what's about to hit him.
But he does know his experiences with these lobsters and elects to go ahead and take the fight instead of trying to run away. Smart.
So here we are. Edgeworth is about to take his first look at Kraken 2. Kraken 2 has that first slot spell nuke, and his party is, a little on the other level side and missing the white mage. So we'll see what happens here. He is opting. He opts for evasion and gets a nuke to the face.
Well, that's the first time we've seen the second spell, and that's actually interesting information. So if you can survive a nuke charge, Fire 2 is next.
Which means you got to kind of get lucky on your nuke rolls to make sure you can, if you're Edgeworth, to make sure you can survive that Fire 2 as well. Because Edgeworth's going to have Dragon Armor on his Knight. That Black Mage didn't really stand much of a chance.
So advantage back over to xIceblue, who's now on the fire floor, about to approach Carrie with his souped-up 3-man party. We'll see if the extra levels and extra hit points that he's received over the last 15 minutes is going to be enough to prove a difference here.
The interesting thing to note is when Edgeworth lost his White Mage, my first thought was, well, now they're on even playing fields, in which the advantage goes to xIceblue. So if that White Mage goes down, then I'm not going to say Edgeworth's chances are shot, but that White Mage is going to carry the rest of the group.
So that's 3 runs now that Kraken 2 has ended, and we'll see whether or not he has any more runs he wants to claim before this is done.
Yeah, so we have Kraken 2 at 3 and our runners at 0, so definitely going to come out the victor tonight. Boy, wouldn't it be nasty if our runners overcome K2 and then Tiamat or Chaos is equally as bad?
xIceblue just getting worked over here on the fire floor. This encounter table has just been brutal.
Yeah, if you took that, and I think if you took the power cycle from the start, then, like I said, the back end of the encounter table is a little chunky. I don't know where xIceblue is on his part of the encounter table here. If he restarted, he could start to get into that chunky area, but I didn't think it was going to happen until probably after Kraken.
Beginning to wonder here if a strategy for xIceblue might be to attempt to re-raise Dan here, and maybe give Dan a white shirt. Something to do. It might give you an extra cast of the white shirt off and allow your red wizard and your black wizard to start nuking.
Man, that's such a tough call. because you're dying. It's weird because on the left hand you're dying to a nuke to the face. On the right hand, he hits for 8+ hits for 600 hit points, and somebody's going to die. So it's going to be very interesting because I wonder, how much grinding our runners may or may not continue to do. Will Edgeworth start a grind, or will he keep throwing his body at this encounter? Because he definitely has to feel like xIceblue is doing the same, hitting this encounter over and over. We know xIceblue has a significant number of levels over Edgeworth. It's probably in the 8 range at this point. I didn't catch the levels of his runners, but if they're 28 plus, that's easily 8 or so levels more than the rest of his party.
Yeah, actually, that Black Wizard now just hit level 31 and got a nice boost in hit points up to 330, where you've got a toss-up now on that first turn nuke.
Yeah, and it's always tough to say because you don't necessarily want to entertain the idea of exiting out and saving that experience, but at the same time, you got to earn that back when you make the next lap through. So I don't know because like I said, the runner has to think the other one is throwing themselves at whatever the encounter wall is at this point, and so you got to feel like maybe there isn't enough time to stop and do a grind. As we got a little high five action going on here.
Yep, here we go. Side by side carry encounters as xIceblue goes ahead and then takes down the Fiend of Fire on his side, and down to the water floor he goes. Let's see if this extra preparation is going to pay off or not.
Ooh, this is interesting. So we have a stop on Edgeworth's side, and having only one ribbon keeps his white mage. Oh, and zaps in the 2 slot, takes out 2 of his party members. We'll see if they can finish this. Unfortunately, Cure 4 won't bring him back from the dead. Nuke Fade charges we're hoping for at this point. Oh, and the red mage goes down.
So Carrie, showing your teeth finally in this seed.
If he can down this, he's got some of the life charges to bring the rest of his party back.
Uh-oh, there's fast.
Carrie 2 is also a religious observer. Hey, sometimes fasting is good for your body. Doesn't have to be religious.
All right, up comes everybody on Edgeworth's side, so he's going to go ahead and try to continue to do this. xIceblue struggling his way through the water floor. And here we go, the moment of truth. Will this be enough? Level 31 for 3 members.
And the crazy part is, if you had your 4th runner up, and say your whole party is, 25 on the experiential difference. One Invis 2 charge, maybe? Maybe that white mage survives the first nuke, but, there we go. Favorable-ish rolls on xIceblue's side. Oh, and he has low hit points. That is crazy.
So 2 nuke charges and a swing of a sword will do it.
We'll see if Edgeworth employs the same strategy, but he's going to need to get a lot luckier than xIceblue did. xIceblue got lucky with all 3 of his party members surviving. He must have had, 2 nukes and a swing? He probably had less than 800 hit points. Oh, and Edgeworth taking a wipe.
All right, so advantage xIceblue again, getting past the roadblock of Kraken 2. Here comes Tiamat 2, and behind him lurks Chaos still.
All right, so here's our very first look at Tiamat 2. We'll see if he has anything nasty at this point, or is the seed saying, okay, you've done it, you may now pass.
Thunder's not going to be a threat with 3 ribbons, so that's fine.
Now remember, xIceblue, I don't know, I guess maybe he can afford to lose a runner or 2. He cannot afford to lose that red mage. Favorable nuke roll there.
And that wasn't much of a hit at all.
Not so favorable nuke roll. It's balancing out. This team mat's proving to be a little beefy. And there we go.
So just a little bit more of a run here through this upper right-hand side of the air floor for xIceblue as he heals back up.
And he gets clearance, so wherever he was in that encounter table, it did not hinder him that badly on the air floor. All right,
so it all comes down to this.
Buckle your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if this guy's packing. He is out of Cure 4s, if I saw that right. Oh, and he opens with Crack. It's okay. Ribbons. That's not going to favor Edgeworth at all. Ooh, high absorb. 7 hits for 32. And he does not have that power glove, so we'll see what happens. Oh, wow. And Chaos has the other nuke. He's just loading up the nukes. He doesn't even care about the swings. That's a good crit right there. About a crit for a nuke.
Follows up with Fire 3. That Black Wizard is getting down into danger zone, but for 10 hits and 389 damage in a time of 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 40 seconds, xIceblue takes this surprisingly brutal seed down the stretch and takes a win, goes to 2-0. Edgeworth is going to go ahead and fall to 1-1.
And the 1-1 bracket just got a really tough opponent, so definitely GG to xIceblue. We're going to try and get them here in the chat channel. Get them in here for an interview. I am sure they are both salty, and I think you guys will want to hear that.
Yes, indeed. And Edgeworth has decided that he has seen enough of this seed and is going to go ahead and forfeit out of this race. GG's to xIceblue for conquering this seed, and GG's to Edgeworth, who saw a whole heck of a lot. So as we wait for our runners to go ahead and get entered into this Discord that we're in, sounds like they're here. So we'll go ahead and start with xIceblue. GG to you, xIceblue, on a seed that went surprisingly smooth. Oh, he just left. So he loved it so much he decided to leave. Edgeworth, you're here with us though, and so you had a completely different sort of experience than xIceblue did. So why don't you tell us what you thought?
So I just figured this was one of those seeds where the randomizer wasn't going to let me win this seed. So like when you have the idea that you've lost about 30 minutes into the seed, it's really not a big deal.
And we have xIceblue back. xIceblue, this was a pretty trucking seat for you, and you did pretty fine all the way up until we met our old friend Kraken 2. Talk to us first and foremost about your decision to Dan the White Mage, because I did pay for you down the stretch until we got to Kraken. How did the seed unfold for you?
I mean, I didn't see anything really bad until Temple of Fiends Revisited. Like, the way I routed it, I ended up finding all 3 of the ribbons very early. And just the way it was done, Sea Shrine, after Sea Shrine, it was like Waterfall put me in go mode. So it was just a matter of checking, chests. And I think 3 ribbons were found. I can't even.
Yeah, unfortunately for Edgeworth walked right by one of them. It was that first chest on the right as you head to Mermaid.
Oh, yeah, I got that one, and then there was one in. And
you had one in Elflin Castle.
Yeah, it was the keylock chests. Elflin Castle and Elflin or Northwest Castle, I think.
Edgeworth, for you, you made a decision to try to dive Earth Cave relatively early, and it ended up turning rather sour on you. You were able to get through it, but you lost a couple party members relatively early there. Was your strategy just to try to sprint through it and get that orb lit?
I mean, the point was just hope that I could find ribbons in the chests that were along the way. Really try not to go too far out of the way. Like I said, I had figured just from the early game that I was behind, and it didn't really get any better.
Did you happen to check Elfin Castle treasury?
Yeah, that was I checked that before, so I had one.
It was stacked, like dragon armor, adamant, ribbon. Like after I grabbed all of that, I was like, okay. I was like, I don't need any more gear for my fighter. I was like, let's just go. And then I was like, well, let me go turn in the adamant. And then I checked the Northwest Castle chest, and then I checked the Dwarf Cave chest, and because I was gonna see, hey, maybe we could find the Mazmune. And no, we didn't find that. What level were you when you hit Temple of Fiends?
20.
Oh, Jesus. I hit it at about 25. I grinded to about 26, 27. Dove, got destroyed by Kraken 2. Tried a couple more dives, didn't even make it, and then grinded to about 30. And then I didn't even bother buffing up for K2. I just nuked him down.
Yes. So did you get in there like about like an hour? It seemed like things went pretty quick for you.
I've downed my fourth Fiend in an hour and 8, and I was in Temple of Fiends at about an hour 12 because I was shopping around for my night.
Okay, so yeah, so at that point you had 20 minutes on it.
Yeah, so xIceblue, how did you feel then when you finally realized that K2 only had like maybe 700, 800 hit points?
Very relieved, because not only did he have nuke in the first slot, he also hit like a truck. He hit my knight for about 560 on the first turn, the last fight that I had with him. So it was either get one shot or one shot him on the first turn, whichever came first.
You had a Dan question mark by your name. What would have caused you to not Dan that white mage?
Actually, it was kind of a... we're going for an element here. It was the names. Actually, I'll put them in the right order.
So xIceblue, you're going to head to 2-0 in these Swiss flags. So GG to you and congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, that's just bad luck for that seed, honestly.
Edgeworth, you're going to fall to 1-1. And we have 3 more matches left to go in these Swiss rounds. Anything that happened, or the way that this seed spooled out to you, is it going to want to make you change the strategy, or was this just a one of those situations where the randomizer decided to be awful to you today, and you're just going to go ahead and continue with your strategy?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't anything, I think, strategic-wise that was wrong. It's just I had to make more aggressive plays after falling behind early, and that ended up snowballing into worse and worse things. But hey, at least I baned TM out, right?
I think. Wait, you baned TM out as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so we both baned him.
Yeah.
Or baned her.
My fighter was the only one left.
How many war mechs did you see? I saw 3. I was I was on the part of the encounter table, I guess, where it was like 9 encounters in like a 15-step train, and that just fell right on the war mech bridge, and I ran into 3 war mechs.
Did you end up go moding Sky then?
I go moded every dungeon except for Sea Shrine.
Okay.
Yeah, the way I routed it, I did Ordeals or Ice Cave, Circle of Sages, Ordeals. I went and grabbed all the key items from all the different people, and the waterfall had Crown, and that was my go mode.
So where was the other ribbon then?
One was in Sea Shrine by the right-hand side before Mermaid Village. One was Elfland Castle, and one was Northwest Castle.
So 2 of them were Crown Lock then?
Yep.
Yeah, normally not a place that a lot of the runners do. No, Elfland Castle's probably fine, but the rest of the crown chests, if they're not in that tight, large bundle, they can be skipped. A lot of runners would believe they could be skipped.
Yeah, I think, if I didn't feel like I was behind, then definitely do the crown chest first, because I'm still looking for gear. But I felt like I had to hope that I found things along the way, and the only thing that I found was a lot of Lit 3 and a lot of Brack.
Yeah, that's one thing that xIceblue did not see. The Mancats were Lit 3 poison, and Edge must have wiped 4, maybe 5 times in Floating Fortress, and so that was just an unfortunate string of events that occurred after the unfortunate string of events that occurred in the Earth Cave.
Jeez. I was very tempted to fight those war mechs because I ambushed 2 of them, and I was like, I ended up killing 1, and I was like, no, I need my resources.
Well, we were very happy to see that you at least killed one of them. Chat was cheering for it, so GG's to you. And speaking to GG's, coming up on Speed Gaming 4 right now is a start for a Link to the Past randomizer. If you're interested in more of this tournament, we're about to start a race over on the sister network Randomania for another one of these Swiss round flags if you're interested in that. And then you've got a Link to the Past randomizer also on Speed Gaming with another match of that coming up at 11:30 this evening. And so give these 2 runners, xIceblue and Edgeworth, a follow. And thanks a lot to Tyrannex for tracking this match tonight. Tyrannex, you did an outstanding job. Thanks very much. Give Tyrannex a follow. Give your commentators a follow. And if you haven't subscribed to Speed Gaming or followed the Speed Gaming channels, go ahead. And so that's all I have for the evening. Sforzando, I'll let you go ahead and wrap us up for the evening. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah, definitely, and huge props, like I said, to Speed Gaming for just giving us the host to be able to share our community. All rights to this telecast are reserved by Speed Gaming and are prohibited for authorized distribution, etc., etc. I just felt like saying that. That's not what they told me to say. Guys, thank you so much for watching tonight. Stay tuned for more Speed Gaming action. Otherwise, we will see you on our sister station as well for more Final Fantasy Randomizer. For Ickman Maya, I have been Sforzando, and it has been a pleasure to broadcast with you tonight. GG to xIceblue. We will see you guys soon.